Hi, okay, welcome. This is session 2. So we have some recap questions and then we're going to be going on and looking at solving equations. This is going to be quite a lot of information in one video. You need to do it at your own pace. So if you need to take a break at any point, please make sure you do that and then come back. So this is what we did last session. I want you to hit pause, have a go at all those questions, and then press play when you are ready to see the answers. Okay, so question 7 is probably the one that you're thinking, hang on a minute, we didn't do that. I'm going to do this to you throughout the course. I think it's really, really important to get you out of your comfort zone because part of the GCSE is about the way you process and think about a question you've never seen before. So it's really important that I give you questions you've never seen before. So these are the answers. There you go. So just hit pause and give those a mark. You can see that I've highlighted question 7. I'm just going to go through that one just to make sure we understand it. So press play when you're finished marking. Okay, so with question 7, we have our current knowledge, and that is enough to be able to solve this if we've kind of got the confidence to go for it. Our current knowledge is that raising anything to the power 2 means multiplying it by itself. That means all of this, everything that's in that bracket is going to get multiplied by itself. So that is 3f times 3f. 3 times 3 is 9, and f times f is f squared. Now, I don't want to expand it out like that every time. I want to be secure in doing it like this, okay? Because then as the questions get harder or they involve more powers, I'm already ready for that, okay? So I can show it for what it is, see it clearly, or I can think of it like this. I'm going to do a power 2 on the 3. 3 squared is 9. And f times f, or f squared, is what I get out here. And either will work there. If you got that right, then that was absolutely brilliant. So really, really well done. Okay, so we are going to get on with our solving of equations. Now, there are more than one way to do this. I prefer and use the hopping method, and that's obviously what we're going to see here. Why do I like it? I like it because it's really versatile. It's going to solve our equations, but it's also going to rearrange. It's also going to do formula. It just picks up other topic areas really easily, and that's what we want. We want methods that we can apply in as many places as possible and as easily as possible. So I'm going to teach this like you've not got any experience of equations so that you can see the method and you can see it building, all right? So solving equations. Equations are another topic in algebra that has an equal sign this time. So some of the algebra that we've seen recently, let's say we've seen 2a plus 3a minus 5. That would simplify, tidy up to 5a minus 5. And that's my answer. I don't go any further than that. And the reason that I don't go any further than that is because I don't have any additional information to help me take the algebra anywhere else. It also, and this is really significant, that question has no equal sign anywhere. I'm not actually being asked to solve. I'm being asked to simplify, to tidy and neaten things up. So equations are recognizable through the very fact that they have an equal sign. So 2x is equal to 10. 2 times a number I don't know equals 10. Now, because our maths is generally quite good for a question like this, we don't have to think about a method, but I want to show you the method even at this stage so you start to get used to it. So the method that we're going to be applying is one called hopping, where I move the numbers away from the letter that I'm given. It doesn't have to be an X. So away from this side of the equals over to this side of the equals. Now I can see just by looking at this that the X must equal 5. 2 times 5 is 10. If I did the method that we're going to be learning today, I would be picking up that times and the 2, and I would be moving it to the other side. Once I've moved it to the other side, it has literally gone from that side, leaving me X on its own. But what I now have to do, 10's there, it hasn't disappeared. What I have to do when that number lands, so 2 is going to land, when that number lands, it lands as its opposite. The opposite of timesing is dividing. And you can now see 10 divided by 2 is going to give me X equals 5. It's giving me what I expected it to give me. So this method is about rearranging the position of the numbers in order for us to get the letter on its own. So the first thing I do when I see an equation is think, I've got to get X on its own. Okay. And then I start the hopping. So let's look at it on another very basic. We're not staying in the basics. I want us into those grade 3 questions as quickly as possible. But let's just see it so we see that hopping idea. If I've got X, take away 2 equaling 5, I don't need a method to help me work out what that missing number is. I can just sit down, give it a little thought, and then I'm going to get that answer. But if I follow this method of, if I want to know what X is, I've got to get it on its own. That means I've got to pick up the -2 and dump it on the other side. As it lands, the sign, and this is absolutely crucial, sorry about that, I wanted my highlighter, the sign, this is absolutely crucial, must land as its opposite. Now, X is on its own. I've moved that, it's gone. And it equals 5 plus 2, which is 7. So as I move those numbers across, I am creating a piece of maths that I must do. Okay. All right, let's get into some questions that, again, you may intuitively be able to solve, but we want a method. We want a method that as it gets harder, we can do the questions, no problem. So let's take a little look at this one. We're going to have 3x plus 4 equaling 34. Okay. Now, as I said, there are some questions that you can pick apart and see what that x is going to equal. We, however, need to know how to do this when you can't do that. So I've got 2 numbers this time. I've got to get rid of the 3 and I've got to get rid of the 4. I've got to do it in the right order. So I can't just randomly pick whichever one I want. I have to do it in a particular order. It is what's really happening is something, is this, I'll show you, okay? We use BIDMAS when there's more than one operation, don't we? And in this question, there's more than one operation. There's a times here, the invisible times being squashed, and there's an add here. So when I'm doing my normal maths, I would use and apply BIDMAS. When I'm solving equations, I must do BIDMAS backwards, okay? Now, BIDMAS backwards, if I consider what I've got in this question, I've got a plus, and I'm going to show it just so that we don't forget it's there. And I've got a multiplication. BIDMAS backwards means I hit the addition first and the multiplication second. So that means I'm moving the addition first and the multiplication second. But when I'm thinking about it in that way, it feels like it's going to be really complicated and really hard. So that is technically what is going on. But one of the things that you can do to help you, and it's not perfect, it's not absolutely foolproof, but it's brilliant and it really works. And when you're first learning about this, it's such a great thing to have up your sleeve. One of the ways that you can think about it is the last thing you say is the first thing you hop. So I'm just going to rewrite this so that we haven't got all the highlights and everything in the way. Okay, so I'm going to read this out loud and stop when I get to the equal sign. So I'm going to say 3x plus 4. Plus 4 was the last thing that came out of my mouth. So it's going to be the first thing I hop. The last thing I say is the first thing I hop. Circle the sign so you don't forget that it's got to change from a plus to a minus. That has now gone, leaving me 3x equaling, and I've got a piece of maths that I'm actually going to do. So it's as tidy and as neat as I can make it, okay? So I've got 3x equaling 30. I can see 3 times 10 is going to give me 30, but I'm going to do the step because I want to learn this method for when I can't see it, all right? So I am going to pick up the 3, which I know is a times on that side, and it's going to land as a divide. And I'm actually going to do it like this now, because technically, as our equations get more difficult, that will become very helpful. You can show 30 divided by 3 if that is better for you. But as I say, as our equations get harder, and they will, because we've got lots and lots of sessions, which means lots and lots of practice on this is going to happen. I'm going to keep pushing you all the time. So we are going to have problems here at some point. This is going to be important. So I would do this if you can, please. So I've now moved that 3, so it's gone. I've got x equaling 30 divided by 3. How many 3s in 30? 10. Okay, so what we have learned so far is if I want to know what the letter equals, in this case x. So if I want to know what x equals, I get it on its own. To get it on its own, I hop. To know what order I hop in, I hop the last thing I say. The last thing I say is the first thing I hop. So it'd be really sensible to make some notes around those points, and then we'll do some more practice. So obviously hit pause, make the notes that you want to make against this example, come back, and then we'll start doing a whole load of practice. All right, so here is our next question. I'm going to get rid of that now because I don't want that to be something that you worry about. So we've got 4x minus 7 equals 13. If you're brave enough, have a go. Literally press pause and see how far you get. If you kind of want one more talk through, then feel free to stay with me now. Okay, I want to know what x equals, so I'm going to get it on its own. The last thing I say is the first thing I hop. 4x minus 7. Minus 7 was the last thing I said. So minus 7 is going to land as plus 7. That has now gone. So I've got 4x left. Really important to show these steps clearly so that you don't get confused. Got some maths to do here. 13 plus 7 is 20. So the 4 can go. 4 is coming over here. Remember, it's times on that side. So it's going to land as divide by 4. 4 has gone, leaving x now on its own, which is what I want. So if x is on its own, I will know what it equals. How many 4s in 20? 5. And there you have it. So fingers crossed that went well. If you stayed with me just to watch and see it that second time, absolutely fine. But this time I need you to be super brave and go for it. We've got 7x minus 7 equaling 21. Even if you think you can see the answer, do all this hopping, learn how to do it. Okay, 7x minus 7. The last thing that came out of my mouth was minus 7. So that's going to land as plus 7. And 21 plus 7 is 28. I'm now going to move the 7. And I've got x is equal to 4. Okay. Next question. 5x minus 8 equals minus 18. Okay. Now you've got to trust in your method. You mustn't look at a question that looks different and then suddenly think, oh, I don't know how to do that one. If you know how to do equations, then you know how to do any equation they give you. So it's about confidence. Okay. So for this style of question, you know how to do this. Hit pause and press play when you're ready to see how you get on. Okay, here we go. Minus 8 goes first, would have been the last thing I said. Minus 8 lands as plus 8. So that's gone. 5x is left. I'm at minus 18. I add, so I'm going up the number line. Minus 18 plus 8 will take me to minus 10. Next step is that 5, which is a times, lands as a divide. X is now on its own. How many 5s can I get into 10? 2. How many negatives can I see? 1. 1 in the question, 1 in the answer. So x equals minus 2 or negative 2. If that went well, really well done. If you let the negatives put you off a little bit, okay, just take your time, know your negative rules, you know your steps for solving equations. We're just got to bring them all together. So that was just a little sneaky one. Okay, here's a question for you. Slightly different now. So what are we going to do with that one? It's still going to be the last thing I say is the first thing I hop, okay? So over it goes, landing as a minus 4, leaving me this equaling 3 minus 4 is minus 1. Do not be afraid of the negatives. Okay, now how are we reading this? Okay, I haven't read it out loud, have I? How are we reading this? Because this is important. If we say x over 2, what does over mean? That 2 has got to move. That 2 is going over here, whether we like it or not. And I need to know how it lands. And the only way I'm going to know how it lands is if I know what it means on this side. So x over 2 isn't helpful. X divided by 2 is. So we're looking at a fraction. And that line of a fraction means divide. So x divided by 2. When I pick that divide by 2 up, it's obviously going to land as times 2. Okay? X is now on its own. 1 times 2 is 2. There's 1 negative in the question, so there's 1 in the answer. Okay, so that is a question which has a division in it, and it looks like a fraction. So don't think, oh, it's a fraction, I don't know what to do. It's just a division. Let's have a look at this one. Okay, I want you to go for it. I don't want you to just watch, okay? I want you to have a go. So hit pause and press play when you're ready. Okay, so reading it out, I've got x divided by 6 plus 6. Plus 6 has to go. Okay, lands is minus 6. X over 6 is left, and 4 take away 6 is negative 2. X divided by 6, remember, lands is times 6. X is now on its own. 2 times 6 is 12. And I've got 1 negative in the question, so I've got 1 in the answer. If you did that and got it right, brilliant. Honestly, brilliant. Really, really good. Okay. Let's have a little look at this. 2x minus 8 all over 8 equals 2. All right, so different again. Trust in what we've learned so far. Hit that pause and press play when you want to have a little look at how you got on. Okay, so 2x minus 8 divided by 8. The last thing I said was divide by 8, and it's the first thing I hop. So divide by 8 lands as times 8. That's gone. So 2x minus 8 is left. 2 times 8 is 16. And now I'm kind of back in my comfort zone. These are the questions that I'm happy with, aren't they? So we're going to finish it off. 2x minus 8 is going next, landing as a plus 8, giving me 2x equals 16 plus 8, which is 24. And then our 2 is going to land as a divide by 2. And we've got x equals 24 divided by 2, 12. And if you got that right, just brilliant, because you hadn't seen that before. And it just means as well that you are starting to have that confidence. I have to stress, and I will give an example in a minute, I do have to stress that the last thing you say is the first thing you move is a great go-to, but it's not perfect and it doesn't always work. But I think if you're stuck and you've got that as a piece of knowledge, it's a great way to try and help yourself, isn't it? And as you can see, so far, it's helped in every single one of these questions. So it's only on a rare occasion that it doesn't work. And I'll show you what that looks like, obviously, in a minute. All right, let's have a look at another one of those, just in case you want an extra go at this style. So hit play when you're ready. Okay, 4x plus 6 divided by 10. Divide by 10 is going to land as times 10. I've got 4x plus 6 left, and 3 tens are 30. My plus 6 is going to land as minus 6. So I've got 4x equaling 24. And my 4 is going to go, land as divide by 4. So x is now on its own. 4 into 24 goes 6. X equals 6. All right, if you got that right, really well done. And hopefully you can see from the work that we've done so far, the number of steps needed to solve the questions is the same as the number of digits, the number of numbers in the question. So in this question, we had a 4, a 6, and a 10, and you can see we've circled them all. So 3 movements to get x on its own for that question. Okay, moving on. We've got 3x minus 2 equaling 15. Now you know about brackets, so that's nothing to worry about. You know about solving equations, so that's nothing to worry about. So I think you should just have a go. See if you can get this question right. Hit play when you are ready. Okay, so I tend to see the X when it's in a bracket as being trapped by the bracket, and I need to get to that X. So I am going to expand the bracket using my skill of multiplying them out. So 3 times X is 3X, 3 times -2 is -6. And now I'm back in that basic form that I like, that I'm confident in, and I can crack on and finish it. So 3x minus 6. Minus 6 lands as plus 6. 3x equals 15 plus 6, 21. I'm going to divide through by the 3, and I've got x equaling 7. And if you did well on that question, then brilliant. Well done. We'll do one more bracket. So we're going to do 3x minus 7 equals 9. So have a go at that question for me. Okay, so we've got to expand our bracket, haven't we? So 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times -7 would give me -21. I'm then going to move the -21. It's going to land as positive 21, giving me 3x equaling 30. Divide through by the 3, and x is equal to 10. So another nice one there. Okay, let me give you an example of when this whole last thing you say, first thing you hop could go wrong for you, okay? If I gave you the equation, so let's say I gave you 10 plus 2x equals 50. There you go. The last thing I actually say there is 2x, 10 plus 2x. I don't want to move 2x because I'm trying to get x on its own. And if I was to pick my 2x up and land it on the other side, I'll have 10 here, and then I'll have 50 minus 2x. I haven't actually done anything that is going to help me. I've just put it in a different position, and now it's just created another problem almost, rather than helped get me closer to the answer. So it's that type of thing that you've got to watch out for. You could rearrange it and swap these two round. That can be quite, you've got to be very careful if you were to choose something like this. This is easy because everything's positive. So I could just say, right, 2x, I've got positive 10, that equals 50, and boom, I'm back into doing it the way that I'm comfortable with. But the reason that I would need to be I'd need to be careful with doing that as an option is if I've got a question which isn't plus here, but is actually a minus. Because when I swap them round, I would have to remember that that negative belongs to the 2x. It's part of that term. And then I've got plus 10 equaling 50. So that is a solution. It's a way to approach it. We won't see things like this until a little bit further down into that, into our sessions, when I feel like we've done a lot of practice now. We should be fairly confident with doing this as a method. So let's start throwing in some things that might make you think a little deeper. And this is the type of thing that you will see, okay? The other thing to do is just leave it the way that it is and be aware that you will be hopping in a different order than the last thing you say is the first thing you move. This is where your bidmas backwards could be really helpful, because again, you can highlight what you've got. You've got a times here, and you've got a positive. You've got a times by -2, by the way, with the way that I've rewritten that. And then you've got a positive 10. So You can't see that as an add very easily, which is why it just feels a little bit more, oh, I don't really like these questions. But we'll see them and we'll practice them. So don't worry about it. We will get good, I promise you. They're quite rare, to be fair. It's not common for them to do something like this on a foundation paper. So we don't want to get ourselves too anxious about it. But I think if we're going to learn the topic really well, we don't want to avoid things like this. We want to be aware of them. Okay. All right, so we've done loads of practice on that. What we're going to do is give you a chance now to just take some time. Got some questions here, quite a few. All right, we've got the style of questions here, where they're just the two steps, and then over here where they're bringing in the brackets and the divisions, and they're just slightly harder in the way that they are given to you. I want you to obviously have a go. You will do the normal, do a couple, mark, go back. So you'll be forwarding backwards and forwards on this section. And then it might be that you want to take a break. I haven't actually finished with you yet. We've got one more thing that I want to show you with solving equations. Now, this next thing that you're going to see is upper level. I don't want to make it so grade specific that when something naturally links to this, we don't do it because it's not grade 3. That would be crazy. And it would be really silly to put this next thing in the grade 4, where you're then having to go on and do the grade 4, which you may not want to do. So I'm bringing it in here, and it is, yeah, it's taking it up another level. You may want a break before you do that. And obviously you are very, very welcome to take it. Come back in a day, come back in an hour, whatever works for you, okay? Okay, so on to the next thing we are going to see. So we can have x's on both sides of the equal. Here's an example for you. So we've got 2x plus 4 equaling 5x minus 8. When I've got the x's on both sides, I can't exactly get x on its own, which is my mantra for solving equations. I want to get x on its own. Well, how am I going to do that when I've got x's on both sides? So my first job is to get those x's kind of together. So I'm going to hop the smaller set of x's. And that's really, really important. What it will do is it will avoid negatives coming into the problem. Now, you can't always avoid negatives completely, but this is something that you can do that will make a difference and will help with that, okay? So when I look at this, I've got 2 x's on this side, and I've got 5 x's on this side. If I'm going to pick up the smaller set of x's, then I'm going to pick up the 2's. Okay, and I'm going to move them across to this side to join the 5 x's. Now remember, 2x is just a number that I don't know yet. If x was 10, then that number right there is 20. It's a positive number on that side. So when it comes across, it's got to land as its opposite. So it's going to land as minus 2x. Some people get a little bit confused with this because they know that the 2 has a times stuck to the x. So when they're bringing it across, they really want to bring divide into the landing of that term. The 2 times x is staying is 2 times x, and it's actually the positive term that we're moving. So we're moving the plus, the positive number, which is landing is the negative. The only time we ever do the divide is literally when we take the number off of the x, leaving the x behind, and we move the number on its own. Okay, so that's an area where I do see people getting a little bit confused sometimes. So hopefully that would have helped that explanation. So what have we got by landing that minus 2x there? We've got 4, and it's a positive 4, so I can just write 4 on this side. And then I've got a piece of maths happening here. I've got 5 x's and I've got to take 2 x's off. So that's going to leave me 3x, and I've still got my -8. So that is the tidied up version. And this is exactly what we've just been doing. It's kind of back to front, and some students, it doesn't bother them in the slightest, and other students, it does. So I'm going to do it both ways so that you can decide for yourself what it is you're going to do. So we've got 4x equaling 3x minus 8. 3x minus 8 is the side that I've got to read because it's got the x in it. And when I read that out loud, 3x minus 8, then -8 is the last thing I say. So -8 will be the first thing I move. When it lands, I have to allow for the fact that 4 is already there. So 4 is already there, and then +8 lands. And it's really important that that 4, which is already there at the beginning, stays at the beginning. Because if you go in and land a negative, you've got to get it the right way around or it could go wrong. And then I've got my 3x left. I'm then going to tidy that up, obviously. I've got 12 and my 3x. There we go, that's better. Going to pick up my 3. It's going to land as divide by 3. How many 3's in 12? 4. So my x is equal to 4. But going backwards for some students is really, really not easy. And I can totally appreciate that. So what you are allowed to do is you are allowed to completely switch them around the equal sign. So all of this is allowed to go over to that side, and this is allowed to go over to that side. So you end up with 3x minus 8 equaling 4. And when you do that, it's literally, you're in your comfort zone, aren't you? This is how I learned to do equations. This is what works for me. And there, you absolutely can do that, okay? I will probably do that a good 2 or 3 times just for the people that need it. If you're very comfortable here, you're not going to do this, okay? You'll just carry on working on it the way that it comes, just the way that it comes out. But like I say, I do appreciate for some students it can be quite hard. And then obviously you'll just do the normal, okay? You will pick up your -8, 3x equals 12, divide through by your 3, and x is equal to 4. So either way, you're going to get the right answer. So lots of information in that first example. Let's have a look at a question for you to have a go at. And you've got the skills, okay? There's only one little step at the beginning that you have to think about. Okay, you've only got one step at the beginning that you have to think about that's new. The rest of it's what you already know. So hit that pause, be brave, have a go, and then come back and have a look. Okay, so I've got 6 x's and I've got 3 x's. 3x is the smaller, so that's going across. It's going to land as -3x. You can see where I'm writing it as well. I'm writing it literally underneath the x's so I can see the maths I have to do really, really clearly. So 6 x's, take away 3 x's is 3 x's. Still got my -34, my equals, and my -4 on that side. Don't lose the fact that there's a negative there, okay? Now I'm in my comfort zone. I don't have to swap anything round. It's on the right side for me. All is good. I can just carry on now. -34 lands as +34. So I've got 3x equaling. I'm at -4, I'm adding 34, I'll end up at 30. Divide through by the 3, and I've got x equals 10. If you got that right first time, brilliant. Really, really good. Well done. All right, let's do another one. We are going to do 7x minus 19 equals 6x minus 10. Off you go, have a go at that. Okay. I am going to move the 6x's because they are smaller. And that's going to create 7x take 6x. That's going to leave me an x. I've still got my minus 19. It's equaling minus 10. I'm now going to move that minus 19. It's going to land as plus. And I've got x equals, I'm at minus 10. I'm adding, so I'm going up the number line 19 places. I end up at 9. Okay, if you got that right, great work. We'll do a couple more. If you haven't seen this or you haven't been successful at this in the past, I know that it can feel tricky when we're first looking at it. So we'll do plenty of practice. Hit pause and press play when you're ready. Okay, so I've got 8 x's or 3 x's. That's the one, isn't it? I'm going to pick up my 3 x's. Going to land as minus 3x. That's going to give me 5x minus 30 equaling minus 5. Can't escape these negatives, can we? And then we're going to carry on as normal. So we've got plus 30 landing. 5x is left. Minus 5 plus 30 is going to take me to 25. Now you put a negative in there. Okay, we're going to divide through by the 5. And our x is equal to 5. 5 into 25 is 5. If you got that right, brilliant, well done. Okay, so let's do another one. We are going to do 3x minus 5 equals 6x minus 14. Hit pause and press play when you're ready. Okay, so looking at this, I've got my 3 x's over here. So we're going to move those. They're going to land as minus 3x. I've got my minus 5 equaling 6 take 3, 3x minus 14. So this is a question where it's come back to front on us. If you are comfortable, you'll just carry on. If you are not comfortable, you will make the switch and you will literally rewrite the whole of 3x minus 14 and then minus 5. Don't take just half of it. Don't leave the minus 5 on the other side. It's absolutely critical when you do the rewrite that it is a full-on switch of places. Okay, then we can just carry on as normal. So add 14 and you've got 3x equaling 9. It's very easy to go wrong by just going the wrong way on the number line. So if you do get some equations that are messing up for a reason, that could be one of the reasons. All right, divide through by 3 and you've got x equaling 3 as a final answer. Okay, I think that's probably enough modelled examples. What you're going to do now is just practice it, and we will see this growing as well as being able to just practice those basics through the recaps for the rest of the course. These are your practice questions. The answers will follow. And again, do the normal rewind backwards and forwards, marking as you go. If it's wrong, have a really good think. Did you do a times table wrong? Did you land a +9 as a +9? It's so common to do that when you're learning it for the first time. All right. So best of luck with these, and I will see you for the next session, which is on sequences. So it's everything sequences.